Good evening, you're watching Mission 2024. We're going to get you the latest that is coming in from the NDA meet. The UPA now is India. A full SWOT analysis of both alliances. First up, let me take you through the headlines. NDA counter-strike on united opposition. BJP and 37 allies huddle in national capital. Prime Minister hails NDA, says it's time-tested alliance to further national progress. UPA renamed India for Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance. Congress Chief Choudhry says opposition will fight 2024 polls together. Mamta roars India will win, BJP will lose. Prime Minister Modi's unsparing attack on opposition, says family first, nation nothing for opposition. Reiterates 20 lakh crore graft attacks on opposition.
गाइड कुछ है, हाल कुछ है, लेबिल कुछ है, माल कुछ है। 24 के लिए 26 होने वाले राजनीतिक दलों पर ये बड़ा फिट बैठता है।
Court grants 2-day interim bail to suspend WFI boss in sexual harassment case. Regular bail plea will be heard on Thursday. Tamil Nadu Mantri Pon Muri grilled for over 8 hours at Chennai ED office on Monday. Second round of grilling today. Chandrayaan-3 mission to the moon is on schedule. ISRO says third orbit-raising maneuvers performed successfully. All right, viewers, it's a battle of alliances, NDA versus India. If you might ask what India is, well, the 26 opposition parties that met today for the second time in Bengaluru have named themselves India. The alliance of 26 opposition parties have been named the Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, that is India. Now this after the day 2 of the mega opposition meet of 26 parties concluded in Bengaluru. Bigwigs of opposition parties launched a scathing attack at the BJP, while Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge said that the BJP wants to destroy democracy. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi also quipped in, saying the fight is between Modi and with the euphemism using the word India. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee also sharpened her attack, saying India will win, BJP will lose. So what's coming up next? The next meeting of India, the new alliance, is going to be in Maharashtra, Mumbai. Number one. Number two, till now they don't have a leader of the pack. There is no face of India or the face of the alliance. When questioned, that would be decided later. Number three, well, 11 coordinators will be put in place very soon, as what is being indicated before the Maharashtra third level meet of India. And lastly, there's going to be a campaign center of sorts that will be stationed in the national capital. All of that decided in this meet. A joint statement was issued after the press conference.
This is a very important meeting for the purpose to save the democracy and constitution, and in the interest of people of this country, we have come together, discussed various points, and with one voice, people supported the resolution that will be circulated to you after the meeting, and the details are there. Our alliance will be called, the all people have agreed to have one name for the alliance. Earlier, we worked with UPA. Now, with all 26 parties, a new name is given, that is Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance.
The fight is about two different ideas of India. And while we were having this discussion, this name frankly emerged from the discussion because we asked ourselves, what is the fight? Who is the fight between? And we realized the fight is not between two political formations. The fight is a fight to defend the idea of India. And that is why we came up with the name Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, which also happens to stand for India.
इंडिया जीतेगा, भाजपा हारेगा. भारत जीतेगा, भाजपा हारेगा. इंडिया जीतेगा और हमारा देश जीतेगा.
All right, so it's going to be India versus the NDA come 2024. Rajdeep Sardesai, I want to bring you into the conversation. Our consulting editor, as well as joining us from Bengaluru, is going to be Rahul Srivastav. Rajdeep, what do you make? India and NDA, what are the biggest challenges that lie ahead of both?
Let's look at India first, because this is the new name that has been coined, an acronym which in its long form might seem a little complicated, but when you put it together, is an effective one. Who's going to challenge a word like India? But the challenges, I think, Preeti, that India has go beyond just the name. Essentially, there are two challenges. One is arithmetic, which is linked to chemistry. Seat sharing. How are you going to decide, for example, in a crucial state like Bengal, with 42 seats on offer, will the left, TMC, and the Congress come on one platform? Left has indicated it's going to fight the election against the TMC. So how are you, what kind of alliance will take place in Bengal? In Delhi, it's all very well for Arvind Kejriwal and the Congress to sup together, but can they actually find a way in which they can put aside all their bitterness and fight a campaign together in Delhi and Punjab? Then the problem is the question of leadership. At the moment, it appears the pivot of this alliance is increasingly the Congress party. But the question will arise, will all the other parties be willing to accept the leadership of the Congress, and if so, who? This time we've had Sonia Gandhi present there, who is more of a consensual figure. Will Rahul Gandhi really be able to play a similar role to what Sonia Gandhi played in 2004? What will be the role that Mallikarjun Kharge will play? Also, and I think this is the critical factor, Preeti, the real battle is the Hindi heartland. Does the alliance of this India alliance, name is India, but is it largely focused even today on the south, east and west of the country? And North India, barring Bihar and Jharkhand, is still a relatively black hole to challenge a dominant force like the BJP in this part of the country. So I think the real challenge is, how are you going to overcome the handicaps in the Hindi heartland? And how are you going to overcome the chemistry issues in key states like Bengal and indeed Delhi, Punjab?
Rajdeep, stay with us. Let's quickly bring in Rahul Srivastav, who's had the opportunity to have a conversation off and on record with a lot of leaders that were present there. The next meeting, Rahul, is going to be Maharashtra, but certain, key decisions that have been made. Primarily, one, the name, India. But having distinction of identifying seat-sharing exercise by state, seat by seat. It's interesting because you just spoke Rahul, and he said very clearly in a state like, you spoke to Mr. Yechu. He said very clearly that going forward, each to their own, while certain states there is going to be seat sharing. Already been worked out.
Preeti, I think there is a certain now which has come in as far as this coalition of 27 compared to June 23. Apart from that acronym India, initially, interestingly, what was being suggested was We for India. And from that, eventually, India was adopted. But speaking to Sitaram Yechuri and several other leaders, clarified one position, that though this will be a national alliance, but it will be worked out in the states. Now, to back what it means that it will be worked out in states, I asked him specifically about Bengal, because that's one serious contradiction to this effort of a coming together of the opposition parties, especially when three of the components in Bengal are rivals. Sitaram Yechuri said that in Bengal it will be a three-cornered fight between the Trinamool Congress, the BJP and the Congress and the left. Like we are a player in Bengal and fighting against the Congress party, that's a different story. The idea would be to have contests wherever we can have or we need to have, but to minimize this contest, a battle between the components of this coalition. The idea is to minimize that. How far they would be able to minimize it, I think that has become the critical question. And when it comes to leadership also, there was an absolute clarity from several leaders and components, not the Congress, that it is collective. In fact, Congress spokespersons also after the meeting on record told us that this is a collective effort. The idea of a face, a prime ministerial or a campaign head or whatever is not going to be there at all. So this clarity has come in, and from here on they will move to different states. Right. What they are saying that each state will be a different strategic alliance issue. And I think that's where lies the catch. How will they work that out and minimize all the differences they have?
You know, Rajiv, it's very interesting because what Rahul says, he's given the example of what Yechuri spoke with him on West Bengal. A similar case could actually pan out in Punjab, where the I.N.D.A. party, very eager to tie up with the Congress in Delhi, but in Punjab would like to go it alone and possibly face off with the Congress and the BJP and the Akalis.
Look, I think there are state-level dynamics. Punjab and UP, Bengal, these are all state-level dynamics that will have to play out. But I think the larger challenge is simply this, Preeti. The NDA alliance is dominated by the BJP. It's BJP-centric. The other parties really don't matter. Here, the Congress is the pivot, but you have a lot of other parties that matter in different states. The Congress's challenge, and so far to their credit, they seem to have managed it, is to be flexible and pragmatic, to reach out to all of them and work with them on the ground. Because there are antagonisms that have existed with the Congress for the longest time. Can both sides overcome those simply because you believe that whatever you do, you have to stop the BJP? Is that the sole goal, anti-Modism? If that is, then it seems to me that the real goal of this India alliance is to get the BJP below 225. That's when I believe they are in the game, for which the Congress has to rise above 100. Unless the Congress reaches 120, 125, Preeti, how do you bring the BJP down below 225? That's, I think, the first goal. Which are those states where you can bring the BJP down? And I think this India alliance will have to focus on those states and then hope that South India in particular becomes their sort of fortress where they can win maximum number of seats. You know, it's not easy.
Right. I have a follow-up with that, Rajiv, and we'll cut across to Rahul with the same, because when you when you're talking of that Congress would need to be 100, that means Congress will need to lead this alliance. Is there an understanding by the likes of Mamata Banerjee, who wanted equal stakeholdership of this alliance, that Congress is going to now be the face, unsaid, be the face of this alliance? Altogether, these 26 parties stand at 144 in the larger stake of Lok Sabha seats right now. What's the difference between this alliance and what happened in 2019?
Preeti, I think two or three things. First, you're absolutely right. The Congress has to and I think that's the big change that's taken place in Bangalore. The Congress has to be at the heart of this alliance. For any opposition alliance to succeed, I think there is a general acceptance. Sharad Pawar has said this publicly, but now you're hearing other voices as well, expecting the Congress to take the lead. The question is, where is the Congress going to rise from the 53 seats that it has in Lok Sabha to reach 120? Which are those states where the Congress can take on the BJP? Last time, remember, 186 seats, direct fight, Congress versus BJP. The BJP won 171 of them, the Congress just 15. Unless that changes, unless that dynamic changes, in states where none of these allies will make any difference, how will TMC revive you in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh? They can't do that. The Congress is the Kamzor Kadi, whether we like it or not. If the Congress can get its act together, start winning in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, in Rajasthan, in Haryana, then I think it's game on. So I think the next 6 months, what will have to be watched is, while the Congress sort of creates this India alliance, can the Congress become a stronger party which can take on the BJP as it did in Karnataka, as it did in Himachal?
Rahul, you know, for someone who's followed many series, many seasons of alliances, UPA 1, 2, 3, and now, of course, India, what's the difference in terms of the contours of the opposition alliance from 2019 to now?
I don't think, Preeti, I have seen political parties or formations as desperate to get rid of a government. My early days were when VP Singh was leading the charge on the Bofors issue. It was a yen to come to power. It was to destabilize, get rid of Rajiv Gandhi regime. But I think there was not that palpable fear, threat, and all those similar elements as far as a political party is concerned, which the BJP does today. See, for example, a Mamata Banerjee, who didn't want a meeting in a Congress-ruled state, has come to Bangalore, which is a Congress-ruled city. And in that, she has, for the first time, I think, Preeti, I think it escaped notice, that I have never seen Mamata Banerjee mention Sitaram Yechuri and D. Raja's name, CPM and CPI leaders, without attacking them. Today was the first time she mentioned their names. I think there is a threat perception. But eventually, as Rajdeep is saying, everybody going to act as aggregators. Interestingly, in 350 or 30 odd seats, NDA won 298, 255 for the BJP. Barring UP, if you see, most of the states are BJP versus Congress. As Congress, Rajdeep calls Congress a weak cuddy. Now that means Mamata Banerjee does well in her state, XYZ does well in the state. Congress has to do well in its own area.
You know, I want to just, Rajdeep, before we just close the show, I want you to quickly spare a thought of what's happening right now where the NDA is meeting. Very interesting. 38 political parties, most of them, or rather quite a bit of them, don't have 0 MPs or MLAs. What are the challenges that lie for the NDA? Then we're going to cut into a quick break.
Body language is a word that we use or overuse. Did you see Mr. Modi's body language? He went and hugged, gave a warm embrace to young Chirag Paswan. Someone who 15 months ago was desperate to retain his bungalow in Delhi, his father's old house, Ram Vilas Paswan, and was turfed out because he was not needed. Today, Mr. Modi reaching out to Chirag Paswan, Mr. Modi warmly shaking hands of all these NDA allies, many of whom I've never met for the last 7 years. Suddenly you've rediscovered them. So I think till the start of the year, the feeling was, Ek Modi sab pe bhari. Mr. Modi is enough to take on everyone. I think there's a quiet recognition that in some states, like in Bihar with a Upendra Kushwaha or a Chirag Paswan, like in Maharashtra with an Ajit Pawar and an Eknath Shinde, in these large states you do need as many allies as possible, not just for arithmetic but also in terms of perception, to give the impression that we are not alone. This is not this is not Modi versus all. This is an alliance versus another alliance, one alliance being more stable according to the BJP than the other, because the BJP is such a dominant force, therefore that provides stability. The other alliance is seen as chaotic. That's what the BJP wants to project. That's why the meeting is also being held, Preeti, on the very same day as the meeting taking place in Bengaluru.
All right, well, gentlemen, appreciate you both for joining us. Focus remains on the clash of these two conclaves, one of the NDA and the other one right now, well, just newly minted India. What are the shortcomings? What's the SWOT analysis?